Yeah, looks like it's going to be a great sunrise, so just kind of sharing Sunday morning with you. Sitting up here looking over Rogue Valley. Hope you're having a great one yourself. And really quiet up here. Something that I could not get in Dallas. It was never a moment where you could just hear nothing. Maybe just a couple birds here and there off in the distance, but just quietness. Really important to have that place. This is my second time up here on Prescott Mountain near Roxy End Point, which is either farther up, but this is a place that I like right now because it gives me a good shot at the sunrise coming up right now, and gives me a good view of the southern part of Rogue Valley. So, thing I'm thinking about this morning is how I'm going to be able to take my schedule right now that's really full, between running and helping to find new authors in Authors Only for the Success Publishing. It's a lot of time and effort that it takes to go through the entire vetting process and to constantly produce value and to maintain the community inside of Authors Only. A lot of work there. A lot of work that I enjoy, so I can't really call it work. But it's certainly a lot more intense than a hobby. So outside of that, I have another consulting system that I do, that I work with high performance environments for high risk situations that individuals are going into, that I have a niche on. And I have a new startup here in Rogue Valley that I am overseeing. So I'm putting a fair amount of hours into that. I don't know if it's going to end up being a full-time position, like 40 hours a week, but it's probably going to be a lot. Probably 20, somewhere close to 30. So I mentioned to Matt in the last couple of months, and even over the last couple of years, that I had the intention of going back to doing high performance personal development. I created a system called Rubicon. It's over about 30 some odd years of my life, developing the philosophy, using the philosophy, applying it, and the experience of also teaching it and helping other people break through the philosophy, break through their barriers, their obstacles, their limiting belief systems, in order to make it through the next level. I haven't taught the system since 2016, so a little over 4 years, simply because there's just other things that have been priority. And so I've always been thinking about, when can I take the system that I've already used, developed, and focuses on helping people recalibrate their thinking, changing the way they think, thinking first about how they think, realizing where their weak links are, and then adjusting those to come up with a stronger system that allows them to start moving toward a predetermined life outcome. I call it the gravestone effect. And from that gravestone effect, moving backwards into a 10-year goal, and then into multi-year objectives, and finally into small mini objectives that last less than a year, that are called task and next actions. So when you work from the end back to now, you're reverse engineering. So you have a unique way of thinking about, how do I want this to come out? So you begin with the end in mind. And that is something that all of the top performing people in the world have left behind as a clue to their success. Is they saw it, they outlined it, they pictured it, they created all of what it's supposed to look like at the end, and then they took steps backwards to break it down to all the way to what is it that I need to do this month, this week, and this day. And you start taking those minor steps that over time become the culmination of a natural process that becomes the outcome. That's how you do it. That's how the best do it. So Rubicon is a system that is created by piecing together all the best philosophies of the individuals that I have studied over 30 years, and their belief systems, their philosophies, their psychology, the social science aspects of what produces the difference between ordinary and extraordinary. So my thought process today is how I can make a contribution in this world with this pandemic. And I've been looking for solutions as far as the pandemic itself, but it may not be something that can help deter that or cure that. It may be about just using this difference in reset button, or maybe this position of desperation. People are looking for something, and they know that what has worked in the past will not work in the future. So they have to learn to think differently, to think about their thinking so that they can think differently. And there is a major desire, an outcry even, for people for education, and not education so that I can know how to complete an algebraic formula, or education so I can, some type of STEM environment, scientific, technical type. But how do I perform better myself? And there is very, very little adequate education out there in the world that allows people to to think better, simply because most of it is written from a position of theory. Even a psychology degree is teaching someone theory, theory that someone else has used, but not personal application. It takes time, it takes sometimes decades for an individual to be trained in theory and to take that theory and apply it and learn what elements of the theory actually make sense, what sequence works and what doesn't work. And so having someone with practical application, real-time application, that has applied and changed their life, that has created an extreme level of performance to take them through near impossible challenges and difficulties, hard to find. And personal performance environment, to be a critic, is littered by individuals that are well-meaning, but mostly looking at the industry as a way for them to pad their pocketbooks. And what they do is they take other people's philosophies and they rehash them or regurgitate them, and sometimes slap their own label on it, unethically, and call it their own, quote, philosophy. What it is theory without practical application. And does it have effect sometimes? Yes. Does it really give someone the ability to truly and actually coach someone from a personal experience standpoint? No. The reason for that is unless you have personally been through and used the processes, the syntaxes, the sequencing, then you don't have the personal life experience of getting through hell and finding the roadmap along the way that you built by trial and error, and then turning back around and taking that blueprint, that roadmap of getting from point A to point B. And in the middle of getting to point B, you had to go through a life-altering, life-threatening position. Then, in my humble opinion, you're just blowing a lot of smoke. So the reason why I'm considering on teaching Rubicon again is because there is a lot of individuals in the world right now that I think are looking They're seeking, and they want to find something that's real, not theory, but something that can be taught from someone that actually knows that they know what they're talking about. They developed, they wrote it, they've practiced it, they've applied it, they've experienced it, they've overcome the impossible mission, the mountain range that everyone said they were going to come back from. And they did come back, and they came back better and stronger. And that's why I started teaching Rubicon. That's why I built it and designed it, so that I knew what had worked for me, and I wanted to make sure that other individuals that were in high-risk environments had the ability to do that as well. So the idea is I've got a group that has passed the Rubicon system. They're called Pathfinders. They've graduated from it. There's not many. Most, like 85% of the individuals that decided to take the challenge that I offered, 85% failed. They failed. They quit. They could not hack the extreme level of discipline. And I don't know if most people are ready for that, because they say they want to be their best. They say they want to move to the next level. And then when you tell them the discipline and the grit and the focus and the regimen that is required to do it, they get all frosty and excited for about a week. And then when you start having to sacrifice their irrelevancies, they're not okay with that. And they don't want to do the routine, and they want to break the new pattern of actions that's not a habit yet, but it's the habits that are necessary. So they quit. I've never thrown anybody out of the Rubicon system. Those 85% have all walked out, thrown the towel in, and said, nope, it's too tough for me. I didn't read my instructions ahead of time. I didn't prepare. I didn't plan. I certainly didn't practice. And therefore, the compass that I'm required to do every single week to help me navigate life, to figure out how to think about planning, and then how to execute a plan, and then how to come back the next week and figure out, okay, that part worked, the other part didn't, so I need to upgrade my thinking, and then to go to the coaching classes on how to do it. You'd think it would be something pretty simple, and people would say, wow, if you're able to make it through an absolute impossible mission, I'm up. Sign me up, coach, put me in. And unfortunately, people are very satisfied with their despicable mediocrity. They want to blame and complain, but what they are is they have entitlement mentality. They want somebody else to do it for them. They want it to be easy, and they want it to be they want it to come second nature. And unfortunately, second nature produces lackluster results. So the point that I'm thinking about right now is the commitment level that it would take to reorganize my Pathfinder team, then to create a group of new Pathfinders that would be basically supervising, kind of like overseers, that would be able to be an interactive, would you call it, kind of a junior coaching environment. Because the idea that I have right now of making a difference in this world is launching Rubicon out to every individual that would want to come in and be trained, and using a Zoom platform to do the multi coaching sessions a week, but then to create, like I said, an infrastructure of supervisors, of individuals that are a step ahead, that have already been through the program, that have familiarity with it, and then be able to create that resource, because it would absolutely overload me if I did something like this and then had to answer everyone's question all the time. So we've got to create an infrastructure. So the reason why I'm making this video right now is I'm reaching out to you, just to gauge your level of interest, and also to gauge your level of commitment. There is a a lot of time that it takes to learn how to think better, to think differently about our thinking, and then to apply the process. The process is proven, it is systematic, it is organized. All of the training manuals and everything are at gonerubicon.com. I uploaded them, I don't know how long ago, and everybody that has been through the system is like, oh, you should be selling this. You know, you could be a life coach, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I could. I don't really have the time for it, but I know it works. And I think right now, just simply because of a number of inquiries from individuals that have been looking for a life coaching, life navigation system from someone that has gone through an impossible war and come up on the other side and took everything that I learned and applied it. And I made it across and succeeded where most people haven't, and succeeded in a ways that um, from a number of wins, no one in the history of the environment that I went through, no one has ever succeeded at the levels that I've succeeded. And that is because of the systematic approach, the regimen, the discipline, the grit, and the ultimate reason, which is, why do you do what you do? So, this video is reaching out to you to see, number one, if you are a Pathfinder, one of the few that was the 15% that made it through. I'm sending this to you so that you have the ability to decide whether or not you want to re-engage, take what you have learned in the past, and be available to help individuals around the world that may take advantage of this training program that I'm about to launch. I need to know if you're committed. I need a commitment, yes or no, in or out. And I need to know how many hours a week you can afford with your current schedule. Number two, this is for the existing authors that I work with every day and have been working with for weeks and months and maybe even years. It's a call to arms to see if you are ready to actually engage the authority that you have been training for, and to be able to implement a system that you'll first have to go through. You'll first have to graduate. You'll first have to apply it to your life. And it's going to cause some change up. It's going to require you to not keep doing what you've always been doing. But it's going to get rid of some of that insanity, that more of doing the same thing and expecting a different result. No, this is not like anything you've ever seen before. So I need you to, A, commit. The training program that I did before was a 10-week training program. It's pretty intense. So we'd have to go through the system first. You're going to have to graduate. You're going to have to become a Pathfinder in order to train and bring other individuals along the path. So that's, secondly, this video is to you to see if you are ready to engage and go into the training, into a system that will be a full-blown life navigation system. And it's going to require time, focus, and commitment. So I need to know, A, are you committed? And B, we need to think about how this works, because most people have advised me that I should not teach this system for free, simply because people equate the value of what you do, of what you are engaged in. They equate value with money. It's just how most people think. If you give somebody something for free, Dad gives you your car for free at 16, you treat it like garbage. Well, because it didn't cost you anything. You had no skin in the game. In my case, my dad said, nope, I'm not giving you nothing. You know how to work. You're able-bodied. use your focus, use your mind, build a business, get you a job at the store. I don't care. Do something. But didn't give me anything. I took my money, took my credit that I built, and I bought, a little 1977 puke yellow Datsun pickup. This was before Nissan was called Nissan, they were called Datsun. So I got this little $1,500 pickup, and he never paid for anything on it. Not a dime of insurance, never gave me $1 for gasoline, nothing. Earned it. I kept it myself, polished it, put new tires on it, made it mine. So I'm not really sure how to make a personal performance training system something that makes you pay attention to, that costs you something to invest in yourself, and therefore makes you pay attention, makes you work into it. So I think we should think about how that should be, and I'm open for your suggestions. From here, what we would have to do is complete the new Pathfinder unit to create enough individuals that are serious about making a difference in this world. We'd have to ready those individuals and create an internal infrastructure of training and reporting, something that I'm good at doing, and then to open this up towards any individuals that want to join. We have to have a max capacity to ramp this thing up. If we open it up wide up, I don't really know, especially with the organization I'm thinking about right now. I don't know how many we would end up if this became available instantly. I don't know, what our capacity is, and if we open up too wide and then we can't provide the tactical response and resources, then we have a lot of individuals that are learning from information, but they ultimately can't do the application in their life because they have to have the ability to build out their weekly compasses, which is a determination of where I'm going ultimately, where I want to be in 10 years from now. I'm writing my goals, not dreams, but I'm writing my goal down, building out my objectives, and then building out my why statements of why I want to get to those, and then building out focused next actions that will take them step this day, this week, this month, take them to the objectives in a year or two, and take them to who they are becoming in a 10-year time frame. That's the goal. Who you are going to become is a result of the doings, the things that you do, the actions, the next actions that you take as mini objectives and as objectives. It's a natural process, but it is a process that requires oversight because individuals don't know how to use it initially. So I'm looking for ideas and insights on how to build this and what to do to make individuals that do sign up, to make them accountable. And if they're accountable, that means someone has to be doing the accounting, the oversight, to make sure that they are following the process, make sure they are being adjusted as necessary along the way. And that's time, and that's effort, and that's caring. And that's why we can't just open the system up broadband. I don't think something like that would have the impact, because it wouldn't have the interactivity that would create the, what would you call it, the grading and scoring system of, yes, you're taking the training and you're making the proper application. Yes, so that's a check mark. Or no, you're missing that. Here's how it needs to work. Go back and think about this, or reread this, re-listen to this part of the training, and then come back and give it to me again next week. So I'm looking for your insights on that. That's what I'm be thinking about here, because success is about well executed thoughtfulness. It is about executing a well-designed plan that has the proper preparation in it. That's how you perform properly. So that's what I'm thinking about this morning. Hope you'll give me your feedback if you're seriously interested. And we'll probably end up creating a Zoom call here this next week. So right now I just need you to ping me back and tell me if this is something that you want to sign up for, if this is something that you want to make the contribution in the world. You want to make a significant level of not just legacy as an authority figure or as a pathfinder, but you want to build a legacy of what you have created for other people, the path that you have taken yourself, that you have found, and opening that path and guiding other people along it. You can't commit to something like that and then have other people step off and begin to change their life and then just disappear into the weeds and say, oh yeah, I committed, but nah, I'm out. Can't do that. You can't do that when other people are trying to change their life, when they're in dire straits and they're in desperation and they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. So this is a full commitment that you have to commit. How long is the commitment? I don't know. I don't know if there is. I don't know if there is a quit. I don't know if there is a point that we would stop. I don't. How do you decide when the world is good enough? How do you decide when limiting belief systems are all gone? How do you decide when people don't need to be helped anymore? I don't know. So this is the reveille. All hands rise up and trice out. And if this is something that you want to put your hat in the ring, sound off, let me know. We'll talk more. Hope you have a good morning. I gave you one more view here of the valley. Talk to you soon.